Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I want to talk to you about what's wrong with the DC cinematic universe. If you don't know, am a comic book fan. I occasionally do comic book movies and reviews on this channel, even though it's mostly gaming, which is why today we have Call of Duty gameplay in the background. And fair warning, there will be spoilers ahead. I want to make that very clear that there will be spoilers in this video. Please, for the love of God, if you don't want to hear spoilers, just go watch another video. But as of right now, this is recorded a couple days after Suicide Squad came out. The reviews are bad for that movie. Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, even most of the time I mentioned it on stream or on Twitter, a lot of people are really hating on Suicide Squad, which is kind of a shame since I personally enjoyed the movie. I had a fun time watching it, but this isn't really a review of that. The movie definitely had flaws and it definitely had reasons to be hated on, but it wasn't the worst movie ever. Batman vs. Superman also did not go over well with audiences for a variety of reasons, including Martha and the email opening scene, which was quite strange. And even though these movies both made a lot of money, both branding, marketing, sheer box office, and everything, neither of them performed as well as DC or Warner Brothers had hoped. And I think that's because their hope was that they were going to be able to crush Marvel, that they were going to be able to roll in and take over all that superhero money, and it just didn't happen. I'm sure people at DC and Warner Brothers have their head spinning right now asking, why is DC sucking when they have all the big name heroes? When you stop and think about superheroes, when somebody says you're on a game show and they're like, name superheroes, what are you going to say? You're going to say Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, and then after that, most people start struggling a bit. Marvel's had a huge resurgence, so now you might hear some Hulk and some Spider-Man and Iron Man or something like that. But for the past forever, and even still currently, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, still the big two. Distant fourth is going to be The Flash. Why are these movies not performing as well as they should, especially with all the big name talent attached to them? And I think the better question, instead of asking why DC is not doing well, we need to back up and look at why Marvel did do so well. Marvel started a 10-year movie plan about 10 years ago, actually. Their plan is just now starting to really come to fruition, but they had planned to launch movies and sequels for several heroes. The DC plan was to launch individual movies for all of their biggest heroes and have each one of them have their own set of sequels. They also planned to slowly bring them together with cameos and then kind of do the Avengers and get some other people showing up. And then after the Avengers, the plan was to spread them out more and expand the Marvel Universe. All of this was literally planned 10 years ago. To do so, Marvel recruited several up-and-coming directors, some big-name actors, a few lesser-name actors. They had Robert Downey Jr. in the biggest comeback role on planet Earth as Iron Man. And as the movies were more successful, as they earned more prestige and earned more money, that's when they later moved on to the big-name actors. Teasers for other heroes to be revealed later showed up in movies months or years before their actual trailer or actual reveal, like Thor's hammer showing up in Iron Man, or Iron Man showing up in the Hulk movie, and, Nick Fury talking about the Avengers and things like this. In doing so, Marvel literally reinvented summer blockbusters for this generation and completely revived superhero movies. Before, superhero movies were considered garbage, bad, risky, not really the thing, they were low-tier art, but now people really like superhero movies. They're considered artsy sometimes, and they set the standard for superhero movies. DC has a contract with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers makes DC movies. Warner Brothers makes all kinds of movies, good, bad, and ugly, and they wanted in on that sweet, sweet superhero money train. Who wouldn't, obviously, because Marvel is very plainly very successful. But the issue is they can't leapfrog 10 years of work with just a couple of movies. Now, realistically, they started a couple of movies back, right? They were doing great work with Christopher Nolan and Batman, but that was about it. They had the Batman movies, and they had Christopher Nolan, which were just about art films, and he had like his own creative control. But now they're trying to do the DC universe, much like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they just can't catch up. And in trying to play catch up, they're hurting the quality of their movies. That was what they made the Marvel movies so great, is that Iron Man got to be Iron Man, Thor got to be Thor, and they didn't have a whole lot of anything else, just little bits of teasing. But if you take a look at Batman vs. Superman, In that movie, we decided to add Wonder Woman, which kind of makes sense, but in another sense she was kind of squeezed in, and they spoiled her in the trailer. They had tons of Easter eggs in that movie for a dozen different things that people had to track down. We had an extended dream sequence about Darkseid and the Apocalypse soldiers invading Earth. There was the weird email setup for all of the Justice League people, and God bless whoever Lex Luthor hired to design those logos, because they did a fantastic job. And we had Injustice stuff going on from the Evil Superman Dream series and all the flashbacks, which is a lot of stuff to squeeze in, a lot of teasers in one movie. It added a length, it added confusion to the movie, and Suicide Squad, as much as I enjoyed it, frantically does about the same thing. We have a whole bunch of B-team superheroes into the movie, and that's kind of what we expected with the Suicide Squad, but it also had cameos from other heroes, The Flash, Batman, that sort of stuff, and it's working on redefining some of the villains for later movies, but the whole point seems to be, hey, these are the villains, you're going to see them in the Justice League, but we just want to show them off a little bit in Suicide Squad just because. And then bafflingly, one of the most confusing things about Suicide Squad is it added a mid-credit teaser scene which was supposed to be a setup for the Justice League, right? It was supposed to be like the thing where they talk about the Avengers and Marvel, like they're teasing the Justice League. Unfortunately, DC and Warner Brothers released the Justice League full trailer like 2 weeks before the movie came out, so it's just like, oh, well, that's neat, instead of it being really cool, which doesn't make very much sense. Which is a shame, because there's so many cool things going on in Suicide Squad and Batman vs. Superman. The end result, though, is that no character gets enough screen time to be very well defined, and this is especially true in Suicide Squad. It makes sense, because it's a, you got like 10, 15 characters, right? But they don't get quite enough love for you to understand their motivations, what they are, where they're going, their past, or anything. So ultimately, you're not attached and you don't care about them as much. And the movies play more like really cool montages than like proper films. They're more like you get on YouTube and type in Batman owns people and it runs like that, which is a shame because there are amazing parts to these movies that just get crushed by the overall rapid pace and character introduction and all that sort of stuff. Also, I think that DC went wrong by adding too many big name stars too fast. Their idea was that adding star power will increase sales, and that does, and it'll make the movies have more prestige. But when you have a whole lot of big-name stars really fast, you have a whole lot of people fighting for screen time and creative control and artistic direction. And you can see this in Suicide Squad with Will Smith. It's very obvious that they decided to increase Will Smith's screen time and give him time to act and be a hero and do things, whereas Deadshot really wouldn't normally be that important. Or the same kind of thing with Ben Affleck literally becoming the Batman and trying to transforming the character into something kind of new, which I thought was awesome. Batfleck forever. Batfleck, best Batman ever. But it's different, and there's too much going on. They don't have the same creative control that Marvel did when they were working with medium-tier directors and medium-tier actors and not like the big boys of the crew. And that's just kind of my opinion on it. I think DC is trying too hard. They're playing catch-up too fast. They're trying to set things up too fast, and they need to step back and take their time. Just focus on making smaller, awesome superhero movies about one or two characters, and it'll be great. I'm hoping Wonder Woman is like that. I'm actually really hyped for the Wonder Woman movie. It's talking like, you know about Wonder Woman in World War I? It's like playing Battlefield with Wonder Woman. I would have thought it was retarded until I saw the trailer, and now it looks fantastic. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this short movie rant. I hope you learned something useful. Sorry I didn't put any like movie gameplay or clips from the trailers in this video, but I really hate getting copyright strikes, so I have to avoid that. If you did learn something, or if you did enjoy, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.